65,671 learners. These are learners who will not have sat for exams this year, 65,000 of them, which made almost 9.8% of the learners that would have written without being progressed. And of these progressed learners, of the 65,000, 22,000 of them passed. Representing 37.6% of learners will not have sat for Matric this year passing. But more interesting, 3,297 of the progressed learners, MEC Tate, got bachelors. And this would mean this would have been either dropout rates or discouraged learners. And 8,473 of them got diplomas. And 10,000 of them, more than 10,000, got higher certificates. But more interesting, we got more than 1,081 distinctions from them, ranging from 40 distinctions from progressed learners, and 30 distinctions from progressed learners, and 31 distinctions from progressed learners. And these are normally very difficult subjects, which shows that with extra effort, motivation, support, there is a potential in some of the learners who would have been at risk.
All right, so that was the Minister of Basic Education, Angie Motshekga, speaking a little bit earlier on this evening, and giving a grim news that the overall Matric pass rate is down by 5.1%. When we compare from last year, it was 70, what is it?
So this year we're at, in 2015, 70.7. That is down from 75.8. Right. So as you say, 5.1%. And the department emphasizing that we're above 70% still, but we have seen a decline in previous years. I think 2 years ago we were closer to 78%. So we're seeing that drop. They are emphasizing that more people in sheer number terms are going through the system and therefore passing, but percentage-wise, we're not doing well. Some interesting results with the provinces. Western Cape taking the center stage, taking the top spot. That's from Gauteng last year.
All right, so what's been happening this evening, if you've missed it all, there's at this big announcement, we saw some of the top performing students across the country that were brought together, and we met some of these young minds that are just amazing.
But incredibly intelligent.
With their futures right ahead of them, but they certainly were the beacons for this year's class, which has been a difficult year, but as the Minister said, you know, still managing above 70 despite these challenges that these students are facing. But there'll be a lot of analysis across the board. What kind of support, particularly the poor performing provinces will need to try and increase the performances, because to get a drop of 9% in KwaZulu-Natal is quite significant.
And those quartiles 1, 2 and 3, the poorer schools in the more rural provinces, the department saying that will be the focus for this year. Of course, resources make a huge difference, and there we can see the national pass rate for the previous few years from 2010 until now. So definitely a decline in the last 2 years, and we're back to basically where we were in 2011, it looks like.
Yeah, and again, what's interesting is seeing that the provinces are shifting. 3 years ago, Free State was the #1 performing province. Then Gauteng last year, I think 84.7%. And now the Western Cape. So it's shifting around the country. And
which is probably a good thing. Yes, competition is good.
But again, I think the poor performing provinces, Eastern Cape, has always been on the radar, and there's always been talk about how to improve the situation there, but it hasn't happened. And we've seen also this movement of families to try and get to the Western Cape from the Eastern Cape because of the education. This kind of disparity where the Western Cape is top, Eastern Cape is bottom, probably is going to put even more pressure to get people moving their kids across to the other provinces. So that'll be something I'm sure the Department of Basic Education is certainly going to have to deal with.
Well, it is a huge disparity. So at the top, Western Cape, well above 84%, 84.6. The Eastern Cape at below 57%, and that's down from 65 last year. So the Eastern Cape really struggling, and that's where you have the University of Johannesburg saying that that province also marred by some of the claims about teaching posts being sold. So that's something that government has to look at as well as the resources.
Yeah, it's been a difficult year in basic education. We had the Anna's debate. So I think what these results probably point to is an acknowledgement that there are challenges, and people are going to have to sit down and say, well, you know, how do we move forward? How do we move these particular provinces, Limpopo, KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, forward? But let's go back a little bit, I think, to reflect on the overall results of 2015. Angie Matseka was busy sharing the overall picture, and as I said, she was at pains to explain to us, see these results in the context of